假如书籍会说话，今日对话，小王子。
Teacher, little prince, you said that what truly matters is invisible. But in reality, people only focus on house cars and savings. Isn't this wrong?
Because the naked eye is preoccupied with comparing numbers. The heart closes itself off. Look at the well in the desert. It is more precious than a gem when one is thirsty. Yet a navigation device cannot measure its sweetness.
But my mortgage and my children's tuition are real concerns. Can one pay bills with just intentions?
The bills must be paid, and the roses must be watered. If you only focus on the calculator, you will forget that the thorns of the rose are the armor against vulgarity.
You always talk about taming relationships, but now, if friends don't contact each other for half a year, the connection fades. How can there be anything unique about that?
Courier can deliver flowers within 2 hours, but it cannot deliver the anticipation of waiting for them to bloom. Only those who spend 5 minutes each day watching seeds sprout truly understand the unique memories etched in the rings of time.
But when the company's KP is our precise to the decimal point, can adults really avoid calculating?
An accountant can calculate the value of a rose garden but cannot measure the speed at which the first petal of a flower unfurls in the evening breeze. Did you know that true entrepreneurs always make time to watch the clouds?
My child always asks me, do stars smile? How should I respond without stifling his innocence?
Tell him that a banker can count the number of stars. But only those who count the stars with a stuffed toy in their arms have heard the giggles of the galaxy.
How can I respond to a colleague who says it's inefficient for me to spend half an hour watching the sunset?
The clock judges efficiency, but the sunset does not. The 0. 3 seconds your heart pauses for the twilight is when the soul is inspecting and repairing its rusty gears.
If the ceremony of a wedding drains one's savings, isn't this sanctity quite expensive?
It's not the length of the red carpet that defines sanctity, but the unwavering commitment that appears at 4:15 every day outside her fence, teaching even the wild roses to tell time.
How can I tell if I am a lost adult?
When you say bring me some local specialties, you only think about the price tag, not whether the sand on the other side of the desert might be hotter to the touch.
My wife says our marriage feels like a routine assembly line. How can we reignite the sense of uniqueness?
Turn off the smart home scheduled alarm and one day wake her up with a manual alarm. Clock the sound of the rusty spring turning is the exclusive BGM of your planet.
Should I stop the child from taking the toys apart?
The engineer assembles. The explorer disassembles. Perhaps he is having an interstellar conversation with a particular part, and you should hand him a screwdriver as a translator.
My boss said the color scheme of my PPT looks like a child's drawing. Should I make it more sophisticated?
Tell him that the data charts will expire, but the tangerine hue of asteroid B612 and the 44 sunsets will never fade.
Should I use a monetary gift to measure the depth of our friendship just because I wasn't invited to the wedding?
The fox has long said that taming is a two-way choice. Perhaps in his rose garden, there is a flower with static electricity, specifically attracting space dust of a certain frequency.
Should I debunk the pseudoscientific articles that my parents always forward?
It's like not telling a child that Santa isn't real. They just used a clumsy way to hide a sweet desire to talk to you in a news link.
I'm always anxious that my child will fall behind if I don't enroll them in enough classes. What should I do?
Remember that the baobab seedlings and rose seedlings look very similar. The time spent on anxiety could have been used to teach him to distinguish between the veins of hope and fear.
How can I practice the sense of ritual you mentioned when I have to work overtime every day?
Let the vending machine at the subway entrance be your David and Goliath every day. As you insert a coin, gaze at the metal box for 3 seconds, and hear the thud of the orange juice dropping. It's the universe saluting you.
Is the fate of a corporate slave to become just a number? The time clock recorded your fingerprint at 907, but it couldn't capture the 608th sunrise reflected in your pupils when you gazed out the window at 314. How can I be sure that the rose in my heart hasn't withered?
When you say I'm watching the rain instead of the precipitation is 12 millimeters. When the rain streaks on the window, hold your gaze for 3 seconds longer than an Excel spreadsheet.
My partner said the star projector I gave them is too childish. Take her to the observatory to see real nebulae through a telescope. If she complains about the low resolution, then you'll know this rose doesn't belong on your planet. My colleagues' hiking poles are worth 0 yuan. Does my sense of ritual always lose to material possessions?
Tell him that the oxygen tanks at the summit of Mount Everest may rust, but the branch of the locust tree I first reached on tiptoe at the age of 7 is still growing rings in my spine.
How can I forgive myself for missing out on my child's growth?
At exactly 7 p.m. tomorrow, open your window. You might catch an alien child quietly watering the sunset you missed. The time is flexible. And love compense.
You said that every planet is lonely. So why do people get married?
Like two drifting planets exchanging soil. The volcanic ash from mine falls into your craters. And the roses that grow there carry a double dose of anti-loneliness genes.
After reading the conversation, I still find fairy tales quite unrealistic.
Close your eyes and count to 5. Do you hear it? The rose on the B612 asteroid is mocking the calculator. And a certain fox is keeping the key to open your heart.